As you know, Candace Owens has been taking a major victory lap over the past 42 hours when she revealed not only that there was a text message where Charlie Kirk indicated that he was leaving the pro-Israel side and that his life may be in danger, but she's been showing that it's backed up. It's backed up by the people who were in that text message chain. So now we're going to get into some of the things Charlie Kirk said even before this text message took place, where he was worried about some messages and some phone calls and conversations he was having that may have implicated his life could be in danger. Check this out from Candace Owens. Make sure y'all go check out the full live stream from her. I'll leave a link in the description for y'all as well. All right, here we go.
I want to say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay. He did not express that to me. So I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people who I think are good will be inspired to come forward with that. Now, again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Yeah. Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill him? Now, to give the obvious answer to federal informant Nick Fuentes' question, the reason that I waited to reveal the text messages is because I'm not a child, okay? Like I said, I have a lot more. I'm not an idiot, and I have self-control, and I understand that time is always going to be on the side of truth. Time is on the side of truth. Liars know that that's the reality. Liars know that they have to speak quickly, that they have to speak repeatedly, and I wanted the world to truly understand just exactly what it is that we are up against, okay? People that I deem to be mentally and spiritually evil, okay? Evil in the true essence of the word evil. People who knowingly lied, instantly lied, repeatedly lied, and continued to do so without a trace of shame, okay? Without a trace of shame. I mean that, right? I really do mean it when I say that you have to be someone that is, or maybe rather someone that is possessed by something that is less than human, subhuman, to do that. There's no humanity in you. That is why I named Josh Hammer. I believe he is a deeply disturbed man. Think about that. Now that you have those messages, okay, let's put this in the context. Just a few hours before I dropped that text chain, Josh Hammer was concerning himself with what he's been doing since Charlie caught the bullet in his neck. He has been spreading lies, saying that Charlie never flinched on Israel, right? Charlie never flinched. Oh, my God, these people like Candace, they're lying. 48 hours before Josh Hammer was on that text thread. And that did not stop him from keeping up the propagandist effort when he went on a show yesterday, before I dropped the messages, and said this.
Charlie was a close friend of mine, as you know. We actually spoke literally the night before his tragic and untimely death. I was on a small Zoom call with him and a couple others. We were literally talking through this topic. I was giving Charlie advice for how to message on this issue on his forthcoming campus tour. He kind of jokingly mentioned to me, he was like, Josh, I'm going to mention your book, Israel and Civilization, and it's so good. And that was literally our last conversation. It's just so tragic. This letter that he wrote to the prime minister, Chris, I read back in June or July or so. And there were so many people in the aftermath of his horrific assassination, Candace Owens, folks like that, who were saying that, Charlie was turning on Israel. He was ready to sell them out and renounce his life's work of sincere and genuine friendship with the Jewish people and the Jewish state. But this letter that he wrote to Bibi Netanyahu, Chris, literally begins. The first sentence of the letter is, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's a close paraphrase. As a Christian, one of my greatest joys in life is making friendships with the Jewish people and defending the state of Israel. That's literally the opening sentence of this letter.
Well, I love this. I love that I paused it here by Candace Owens. What did Charlie actually say 48 hours before that? Because Josh be lying. Charlie Kirk, 48 hours before he was assassinated, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. This person says, Charlie Kirk. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. This was revealed by Candace Owens yesterday. 2 days ago, excuse me. So, yeah. Josh is lying. Why? We don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. And if he hasn't responded to this yet, Josh, time's on the clock, buddy.
Filth. Okay? Absolute filth. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. Whatever that is that lives in him does not live in me. There was no truth in him. Obviously, there was no truth in Josh Hammer. He could have said, well, Charlie was going through 48 hours earlier. Yeah, he didn't. He refused to do that. And in fact, I'm quite alarmed with what I know that there are 3 people who said that Charlie communicated 24 hours before he died that he thought they were going to kill him. Now I find it rather alarming that Josh Hammer is similarly saying, oh, the night before. So you spoke to him the night before. Did he communicate that to you, Josh Hammer? Did he?
Did Charlie Kirk maybe not trust Josh Hammer?
The night before. Did he communicate that to you, Josh Hammer? Did he? I'm interested. I know we won't get answers from you, but let me promise you that if I get a text message to the effect that you were somehow involved in him feeling anxiety the day before, if you did something that gave him anxiety in that way, I will release it instantly. There will be no place that you can hide. Anyways, I want you guys to know that I was feeling so inspired by Josh Hammer's utter lack of human decency that I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me, trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real. Okay. I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair.
Not that easy.
Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that is out there, that has a platform and is going through things and scared, do the same. Send everything around to about 8 people that you trust. And I mean, I've ranged it. I sent it to journalists, text messages and screenshots to people ranging from Max Blumenthal to Andrew Tate. They won't know where it's coming from. It will be everywhere. I want to remind you guys in the wake of all of this that it is so important to keep trusting our guts. We have been proven right so many times in the recent past, right? Whether we're speaking about COVID, people that had to actually take a stance before people were then suddenly government, admits, we were lying about this, we were lying about that. We feel it all right now. The feds are lying. That is beyond obvious, which is why I was very happy to hear former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill explain this plainly when he went on Piers Morgan's show the other day. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
It was off it right from the beginning for me. Do we not guard rooftops anymore? There's been assassination attempts all over the world. Right. Why aren't we looking at rooftops? And then when I was sent the video with this at the same message where they said Charlie Kirk was just shot. When I watched that horrific video, he was obviously dead before he hit the ground. But the questions immediately started to come to me. That was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed and I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. 1, no. He wasn't wearing body armor. And 2, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down? And then did they tear the crime scene down immediately? Just right off the bat, from seeing it, knowing he was dead, saying a lot of this is bad. Not even getting into the soliloquy of text messages that 22-year-olds don't send their trans lover. So immediately, the official story sounds like it needs to be investigated. But now the whole crime scene's gone. They paved over it. Nothing to see here.
You just have to laugh. The soliloquy of the text messages that 22-year-olds do not send their lovers. Yes, that's kind of the main point, guys. We have been working off a lot of tips, and so much more is going to be exposed, and we're going to get into that more tomorrow. I do want to give you a quick update on Lance Twiggs. And like I said, we know that the feds are lying to us. The question is, why are the feds lying to us? The answer is always the same. The feds only lie to cover their own tracks. They are protecting themselves and their bosses. Who are their bosses? Who is they?
We're going to get into that shortly again. Shout out to Candace Owens for putting in the work. In case y'all were wondering what Charlie Kirk was saying leading up to this about how he's feeling in terms of safety, I was able to find another clip about this from, let me double check and make sure. Okay, yep, here we go. I'm going to play this clip for you guys now so you can hear it directly from Charlie Kirk about his life being potentially in danger.
And the Israeli hard-right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, that's, and I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun as an IDF soldier. Right, the whole country is surveilled, and so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel is on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours?
And when you start to ask questions, we know what happens. We're going to get into what Candace believes happened to Lance coming up shortly. So make sure y'all stay tuned in for that. Let me know what you think about this part of it. Charlie Kirk knew what was going on. He talked to Megyn Kelly about it. Said, I've been receiving text messages. There are people who are not happy about some of the things I've been saying. We saw the text messages. We hear from Candace Owens saying she knew Charlie Kirk was not comfortable. How is this going to play into the investigation moving forward, if at all? We're going to have to wait for Candace Owens to do her thing again. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat.